Let's talk about feedback. You need to give feedback to someone, but find yourself thinking about it for days before actually saying anything. You rehearse the conversation in your mind, you wonder how they might react, you try to find the perfect words. Sometimes the conversation gets delayed longer than it should. Not because you don't actually care, it's definitely about that. It's not that you don't even know the issue that needs to be addressed. You do. But it's because you genuinely want it to go well. You want to be fair, you want to be compassionate, and ultimately you want to protect the relationship with that person. And the truth is that tension that you feel is something many thoughtful leaders experience. Giving feedback can feel uncomfortable, especially when you care about the people you lead, which I know is most of you, well, all of you. But when feedback is handled wisely, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for growth within a team. And today we're going to talk about how to give feedback with both clarity and compassion so that people feel supported rather than attacked by you. Let's do it. Do you wish that you could lead your team in a way that honors and glorifies God? Are you struggling to overcome self-doubt as a leader and have a desire to be more confident in your role? Welcome to the Women of Faith in Leadership podcast. I'm Rika, and for the last decade, I've experienced my fair share of managing challenging employees and teams in middle management leadership roles. I committed my leadership journey to God, and it changed everything. And I'm ready to share everything I've learned with you. Now, if you're ready to lead your team in a way that honors God, grab that notebook and pen, and don't forget your chai latte, and let's dive in. Now, before we dive in, we have got 1 week to go before the Confident Conversation Sprint. All right, if you don't know what that is, next week I'm holding a Confident Conversation Sprint, May 25th to May 29th. It's a 5-day guided experience designed to help you as a leader prepare for that one difficult conversation that you've been avoiding. Over the 5 days, I'm going to guide you through identifying the real issue that needs to be addressed, clarify what needs to be communicated, prepare what needs to be said and how to say it, and how you can approach the conversation with calm, confidence, and biblical wisdom. I need you to go to womenoffaithinleadership.com/sprint and register there. There you'll find every single little thing you need to know about the sprint, what's the time commitment, the cost, what is it going to take from your end, because I know you guys are very, very busy. So just go to womenoffaithinleadership.com/sprint, SPRINT, and you will find all the information there. I cannot wait. We've got only 1 week to go. Registrations close on Sunday, May 24th. So get your registration in ASAP so that I can help you prepare for that one conversation that you have been avoiding. Now, many leaders struggle with giving feedback because they associate feedback with criticism. They worry that the other person might feel embarrassed, discouraged, defensive, or even misunderstood. So the conversation gets softened or even postponed or even worse, cancelled. But here's something important to remember. When feedback is delayed too long, the issue doesn't disappear. Instead, frustration quietly grows. Expectations become unclear, and the person who needs the feedback often continues repeating the same pattern without realizing it. Healthy feedback is not about pointing out faults. It's about helping people grow, improve, and succeed. Now, in fact, some of the most encouraging leaders are also the most willing to offer honest feedback because they care enough about the people to help them move forward. And when we look at Jesus' leadership, is the ultimate mentor and role model. We see this balance beautifully. Jesus spoke truth clearly. Like Ephesians, he spoke the truth in love. But he also did it with wisdom, compassion, and purpose. His words guided people towards growth and not shame. And that same approach can shape how we lead today. So let's look at 4 ways that you as a leader can give feedback with both clarity and compassion. Now, the first one is to address issues early. Now, my example that I want to use here is it's having having food stuck in your teeth. Okay. At the end of the day, You walk into your bathroom and you see you've got this piece of green spinach stuck in your tooth, okay, in between your teeth. And you're like, oh my gosh, has this been stuck in there since lunch? And you are so embarrassed that nobody has told you for this whole afternoon that you had spinach stuck in your teeth. Now, that is literally how the other person will feel if you do not address and give them the feedback immediately. It's very important that if a person makes a mistake, you need to address it as soon as possible. This will avoid you feeling anxious about telling that person and it being a build-up, especially like an emotional, nervous build-up in your mind to tell that person. But also it'll avoid shaming that person or that person feeling embarrassed because you're only telling them now. You cannot wait until like a quarterly review or like an end of year review to give people feedback, because that is a recipe for disaster. At the end of the year, if you tell a person, oh, by the way, in April, I noticed that you were making this mistake and I noticed that you kept on making that mistake. And now in December, I'm telling you finally that it's a mistake. I mean, that it could have avoided so many. I mean, just now this person works with directly with customers and they keep on making a mistake and you're not willing to take up that mistake that they're making with them and it keeps on affecting the customers. I mean, you would 100% go and speak to that person. So just again, think about these examples when you are avoiding feedback. Now, feedback is not always just negative or criticism or even constructive. It's also positive. So you must also not wait for quarterly or even annual reviews to give positive feedback. Give positive feedback immediately, especially if the person has done something really, really well. Even if it's something tiny, even if they've just made a smidgen of progress towards their goal, give positive feedback. So address feedback early because that will avoid so many issues for you and for that other person. But just remember, if you are also addressing issues and giving feedback early, you're setting an expectation to people that, yeah, if I make a mistake in this company, I'll only find out about it in 3 months. Whereas if I make a mistake, my boss is going to tell me today and I can fix it immediately. I don't have to feel any shame. I don't need anybody feeling resentment towards me because I'm not doing the right thing. So just address it early, give feedback as soon as possible so that you can allow a conversation between you and that person, which ultimately also builds respect from your employee to you because you've taken the time to help them and to give them that feedback. Now, when you are giving that feedback, remember to focus on the situation and not the person. So this makes me think a little bit about when I'm giving feedback or when I am disciplining my son, for example. I've got 3, 2 girls and a boy, and I'm specifically thinking about him. He takes feedback very, very personally. So I've had to come up with a way that I address his behavior and not him, because he will take it extremely personal and feel like you're attacking his personality, which I'm not at all. So what I would do is, and for example, this is something that you would say, for example, to a staff member is, oh my gosh, you are so disorganized. Can't you just get organized? You might say something like, I've noticed that you have missed some deadlines and I'd really like to talk to you about how we can improve this moving forward. So you're addressing the behavior and not the personality. With my son, that would sound like, so let's think about maybe when he was younger and he was having a temper tantrum. Then I would say to him, this temper tantrum is not acceptable behavior. I love you and I care for you, but this behavior, you cannot continue displaying this behavior. Because if I had said something else to him, then he would, I don't know, he's just a sensitive soul and he doesn't like you, attacking his personality. Why would I? He's got a really lovely personality, but he struggles with emotional regulation. So it's very much the same. Remember, some of the strategies that we can employ are across all ages, whether it's for your children or for adults. The reason why certain ways that we work with people, even the words that we speak work with all people, is because we're all human beings and we were all made in the image of God. So some strategies, sometimes when I'm writing the strategies down, I'm like, oh, that's a bit childish. But then I have to remember it's not about that. It's about the fact that we're all humans made in the image of God, and whether the strategies that we employ across and I have said it before on the podcast as well, some of these strategies I would use with my own children or even when I was still teaching. But it's because we're made in the image of God that some strategies need to remain the same. So your approach to focusing on the situation and not the person is to be focused on what's the behavior that needs to change, what's the solution, and how can you help that person get to the solution quicker. Okay, so we're not going to give them all the answers, we're not going to do it for them, but we can approach it in a way that makes them feel as if we're not shaming them. We're just talking about the behavior that needs to change, because we cannot change people's personalities. That's not our job. People come to us from all kind of diversities, from all kind of worlds. And the behavior that they have at work, that's what we need to focus on. Okay, number 3, be clear, not vague. So sometimes leaders try to soften feedback so much that the message becomes unclear. And unclear feedback can leave people confused. Whereas healthy feedback is kind, but also specific. So I once spoke to a principal who had to speak to a teacher about some unprofessional conduct towards a parent. But she felt so worried about that person's reaction when she was going to speak, because this person just had unprofessional conduct towards a parent. How much more are they then going to have unprofessional conduct towards her as the principal? Okay, so she was very worried about how the conversation was going to go. And so she spoke in circles. She softened the blow. Ultimately, when that person left the room, she did not say what she needed to say. She did not say, your conduct was unprofessional. That's what she should have said, but she didn't. She spoke about this and she spoke about that, and she also spoke in the third person. When we're communicating with parents, from teachers should do this and teachers should. She didn't actually address the behavior with the person directly. So afterwards, she knew that she needed to have another conversation with that person and be more clear, because she was too vague. So when expectations are clearly explained, similar to that situation, then people understand what success looks like moving forward. So that teacher should have actually walked out of that office knowing that her behavior was unacceptable. It was unprofessional conduct. These were going to be the consequences. She didn't need to necessarily get a written warning or even a verbal warning, but it should have been a conversation between her and the principal. Maybe she could have explained why she was unprofessional. Yes, and unprofessional conduct isn't excused. However, if she had just said, okay, I heard that this is what happened. The parent came to me and they complained over the fact that you were unprofessional. Can I please have your account of what happened? Because I'm trying to understand why this unprofessional conduct occurred, and we need to resolve it as soon as possible. So she could have been more clear, quicker. So clarity is not being harsh. Clarity is actually being helpful for yourself, but also for the other person. Okay, number 4, express confidence in their growth. Now, the purpose of feedback is not to discourage someone. It's actually to help them grow. So whenever possible, remember to communicate your belief in their ability to improve. And an example of this could be like when you say, I know you care about doing this well, and I believe you can improve in this area. And if you actually use it like a really a good tone of voice when you say this, like a positive, it can actually dramatically change the tone of the conversation. So an example of this that I used once is when a person was really struggling with, I can't even remember what the whole situation was, but I actually remember saying to that person that I don't believe that you're meeting your full potential at the moment. I saw some really great potential in you when we had your interview. And that's why I chose you as the top candidate. And I still believe that you are my top candidate. But what I am seeing is that you're not able to give your best in this environment. Something's holding you back. You are so good. And this is what I saw in your interview, X, Y, and Z. And I know that we can get this you have this potential. So let's talk about how we can, what can I do to help you to reach your full potential? So immediately that person wasn't shamed. They felt like, oh, okay, she saw something in me. I'm the top candidate. And then she wanted to prove to me that why the reason I gave her the job is actually the truth. She wanted to prove to herself and to me that she can do a good job. And in that moment, she would have felt respected. And because she felt respected, she was open to feedback in the future as well. And again, this is not tooting my own horn. This is 100% the Holy Spirit guiding me through. And if he can guide me, he can 100% guide you as well. And just remember, this is something I said in the previous episode as well. We set the scene for how feedback is received. If you handle feedback very, very well, then moving forward, let's say, for example, just want to preempt what I'm saying is, the first time you have to give a brand new employee feedback, that the way that you handle that very first conversation sets the scene for any future feedback meetings. So if you handle that very first feedback meeting well, respectful, calm, not meeting their emotion where they're at, if they're feeling upset, then they will know that any other future feedback meetings will be handled with respect, will be handled calmly, and it's going to be fantastic, just a constructive conversation. Whereas if you handle their very first conversation terribly, shame them, yell at them, be frustrated with them, get emotional yourself, then that is literally what they will be expecting moving forward, and they'll be dreading the feedback meetings. So no pressure, but handle feedback meetings well, and not just meetings, but any feedback. And I know I did speak a lot about maybe the difficult or constructive feedback, but all of this applies to positive feedback as well. Okay. So before I go and before I close, I just want to remind you for the very last time, because it is starting next week, the Confident Conversation Sprint happening from next Monday to next Friday, so May 25th to May 29th. And during the 5-day sprint, I'm going to be helping you prepare for that one conversation that you've been avoiding. Okay, so go to womenoffaithinleadership.com/sprint, SPRINT, to go and find out all the information about the sprint. You do not want to miss this opportunity. It's going to be fantastic. There will be opportunity for you to get feedback from me as well, depending on which package you take when you register. You can get individual feedback from me. So if you upgrade to the VIP ticket, then you can actually send me your script of your conversation and what you've prepared throughout the week. I'm then going to audit that, and I'm going to send you an individual recorded video with my feedback. Okay, now if you upgrade to the Platinum Pass, so there's the regular pass, the VIP pass, and the Platinum Pass. When you upgrade to the Platinum Pass, you're also going to get 4 of my individual courses that I have already done that's going to help you with difficult conversations. It's number 1 is the Imposter Syndrome Blueprint that's going to help you overcome your imposter syndrome. Number 2 is the Difficult Conversation Script Pack. Now, in that pack, I give you the scripts for 6 different types of conversations that you might have to have. Performance meetings, annual performance reviews, dismissing someone, when somebody gossips. So there's a couple in there, and I give you the exact script of what you can say in situations like that. You're also going to get the Confident Leaders Prayer Companion. So this prayer companion is for you to pray before different situations. So I have actually got I think there's about 25 pages worth of different prayers in there that you can pray before certain meetings. And I also give you palm cards that you can keep handy. The same with the script pack. It's also got palm cards that you can keep handy. You can even keep them in your pocket. You can keep them on your phone handy for quick access. And so there are these 4 products that are going to be included if you upgrade to the Platinum Pass. You're going to also get personal feedback from me for that one specific conversation. And then we're going to go through the 5-day sprint. So it just depends on what ticket you choose. I cannot wait to see your name registered for the sprint. It's going to be so awesome. It's an opportunity for you to get feedback, for you to prepare for that conversation so that you no longer just sit on the sidelines and let people make mistakes and let them get away with it. But it's an opportunity for you to finally step up into the confident leader you want to be and that God created you to be, and start having these conversations. Because I'm going to be teaching you a framework during the sprint next week. And that framework is a framework that you can use moving forward during those difficult conversations. So you do not want to miss it. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Go to womenoffaithinleadership.com/sprint. And I cannot wait to see you all in the sprint next week and then to chat with you again next week. Bye. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and leave me a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts? It would mean so much to me to read your feedback. Also, it would really bless me big if you shared this episode with a fellow leader who might benefit from hearing today's message. And remember, put on the armor of God daily and walk by faith and not by sight. I'll meet you back on Monday for another episode.